hello, sisters. How are you? 125,000 miles, and I finally get to sit here with all of my sisters in Orlando today. Thank you for having me and being here. Many of you have stopped by the booth and you're like, we've been following this crazy journey of yours on social media. Dr. Romie, what brought you to Orlando? And I know I'm supposed to give you the, good talking points that the press tells us to tell, but this is the sisters, could I just be real? What brought me to Orlando 4.5 years ago? It was a man. I don't know where he is right now. Kimberly, I did forgive him, but I will say bye, Felicia. The real important question to ask is what kept me here in Orlando. I had just transitioned out of a high-powered academic career in neurology with this absolutely insane idea that I was going to be an entrepreneur. And not only was I going to do that, I was going to change the way we talked about brain and mental health, and not maybe in healthcare, but go to corporate America and change that narrative after what I went through. It's absolutely crazy. My parents thought I was crazy. And what kept me here in Orlando was this entire sisterhood. I stand strong in my stilettos today because of each and every one of you that has been there to shake my hand, hug me, talk with me, share some rosé and dark chocolate. Amen. My career and my journey started 20 years ago. The first 14 years of my life, I was a practicing traditional neurologist. This meant in the middle of the night, I would be called from the emergency room regularly with a pager. There's a life-threatening situation potentially relating to brain health. I would have to get up and go, and I had the same reaction every time those hospital doors opened. Whoosh. Holy Shonda Rhimes. Girl, this ain't nothing like your TV show. How did Dr. Meredith Grey get 10 years? She wouldn't last in here 10 minutes. Sisters, I got to break the news to you, and maybe my sisters from Florida Hospital are going to say, Dr. Avery Jackson ain't there. Neither is McDreamy or McSteamy. They're not there to seduce you into the supply closet. My sisters in few, not even old McDonald on the farm, no. Instead, I knew I was desired in the middle of the night when I heard that key request from me. Who the hell is on call for neurology and where is he? Oh, I don't think anybody sees me or hears me. I don't even know they're going to believe that I know what to do in this critical moment. And that's why I am here today, to tell each and every one of you, one by one if I have to, I see you, I hear you, and I believe in you. 8 months ago, when I talked to Christy and Kate about having the honor to present here at the Orlando Women's Conference, we talked about a lot of the corporate talks that I give to women leaders around the world now, professional female athletes. And then everything in our lives changed the last 6 to 7 months. Each and every one of us in our industries is having these critical and sometimes very uncomfortable conversations around the equality of workplace and pay for women, the Me Too movement, sexual harassment. And so I called Christy and Kate a couple months ago and I was like, y'all, these are my sisters in Orlando. I don't think I'm doing one of my canned corporate talks. What can I do to give back to this powerful sisterhood? And I sat and I meditated and I thought, what is it that each and every one of you gives me every day? And it's this idea of empowerment. And I know it's a tough word to say because my goodness, it is so cliche. Like authenticity and innovation. It is the most overused word often when it comes to the women's movement. Yet most of us stand here disempowered or not quite sure what to do to empower one another. So I thought, what could I do today, quickly, to bring together the brain science, psychology, and mindfulness around what empowerment really means. Because I know in that moment when I was standing alone in the emergency room in a lone stiletto state, each and every one of you has had moments in your career where you've been standing unseen and unheard or not believed either. So this whole idea of empowerment starts within. That if I can talk to us about what's happening in our mind and in our consciousness, well then you go out and continue to do the inspiring work you're doing to empower your charities, healthcare, economic development, and all the other amazing things you all have come by our booth to tell me that you're up to these years. But to first understand empowerment is to know this: I and you must stand in your own power. And we find that power by empowering our own minds, bodies, and spirits. Do a quick breath check here for yourself. When I say the word power, how do you feel? Does it feel kind of yucky? It's kind of this masculine term. It can tend to make it feel like we're being aggressive or abrasive. But the idea of empowerment is if I don't stand in my own strength and in my own balance, psychologically and emotionally, how can I give to others? I'm not sitting here telling you this, by the way, from the point of view from a brain doctor. I'm telling this because I did not know how to stand in my power. Of course I was a renegade. I entered neurology at a time where less than 5% of neurologists were women. I knew very quickly to keep my head down and my heels on and stay laser focused. But the truth of the matter was, most days I was really overwhelmed, working 80, 90-hour work weeks. I was sleep deprived, and I was very lonely. The stress started to catch up with me, but I was just hoping nobody would find out. And then I remember this one day when I was in clinic, and the nurse comes banging at my door, Dr. Mushtaq, it's your mother on the phone, hurry up, it's urgent. And like many of you, one of my many roles I play is dutiful daughter to elderly parents. I had a pit in my stomach, as every woman in here would. Oh my God, are my mother and father okay? I rush up to the front of the neurology clinic, and I pick up the phone, and all the nurses and the administrative assistants are looking. Mom, it's me, Romie, is everything okay? Romie, beta, we finally got you on the phone. All of your aunties came over for chai today and they wanted to say hello. Everybody, I got her on the phone, say hello. Hi, Romie, we're so proud of you. Very good, you're a full doctor, professor now. Did you find a husband in the hospital today, beta? Mom, I'm in the middle of a busy clinic workday. I've got like 20 more patients to see at inpatient rounds. I need to call you later. No, you are going to take our call because we noticed you are extremely stressed out. You have missed multiple family functions and you're just not yourself. So we have made a unanimous decision. You need to start to meditate. Are you kidding me? Mom, my face turning red, I'm sinking down in my stilettos, everybody is staring. Mom, I'm in the middle of the workday and you're called to tell me I need to meditate. Oh my God, please no. No. We know you are very busy and very important doctor now. Okay, Auntie Deepa will call you at 7:30 with further instructions. Everybody say bye to Romie. Bye, beta, we're so proud. Go find a husband in the hospital today, very good. I sunk down in my stilettos. I felt like I had just been spiritually assaulted. So if you're sitting here in the middle of your lunch saying Orange Appeal magazine, Christy Kate, you brought a brain doctor up here to tell us to meditate, could you just take a moment and breathe and trust that there's something that your mind needs to hear and something your heart needs to feel? I'm stubborn. I didn't listen to my mama or my aunties, and what ended up happening? As I gave and I gave of myself to my neurology patients, my epilepsy clinic, the women in epilepsy research I was doing, I lost all of my power spiritually, and it ended up affecting my physical and my mental health. I ended up laying at the gurney at University of Washington, Seattle, with one of the best cardiothoracic surgery teams operating on me. And it was in that moment I realized I need to figure out how to stand back in my power. And that's when I personally started this journey around the world, learning about mindfulness, integrative medicine, holistic health, and how do we bring this together so that we're empowering our own mental and emotional health. And this is so important for women because despite all the advances in medicine, we're not advancing in treating our own sisters when it comes to brain and mental health disease, and many others on that matter. And so if I did that, and then I come back to that harebrained idea, well, no, I could go back and do it in healthcare, and there's lots of other people doing it, but I want to go to the source. I want to go to the #1 cause of stress in the United States, and that's our jobs. That if 80% of doctors' outpatient office visits are due to stress from our jobs, well, that's where I'm going to go. And 4 years later, I'm here because each and every one of you empowered me with that belief, with your business advice, with a good piece of dark chocolate. And so I wanted to give back to you, and Christy and Kate and I said, well, you know, I want people to have a call to action. So this is our free gift to you, nothing else sells. You can take out your cell phones, the cards are at our table too, and text the word cleanse to 72,000. I will take you personally, you're going to get an ebook on this idea of, if I want to stand in my power and feel good, what's a 7-day cleanse I can do for my gut? What can I eat to feel energized? You're getting a grocery list, you're getting a menu, and you're getting what we practice, bringing together neurology and mindfulness together to help you sleep. Because my goal is in the next 7 days, if we join this cleanse journey together, then I have helped you stand in your own health to give back and empower the way you do. We will also include an audio version of this lecture for you to go back and take an additional action steps to talk with your own daughters and your own colleagues at work, your female employees, in the mind of how do I bring what I heard today, not only from me, but from your amazing speakers this morning, and empower my journey moving forward. So you text the word cleanse to 72,000, it'll be back there at the end. So #1 is stand in your own power for yourself. But what else would the laws of positive psychology and mindfulness tell us? That before we go out and decide to change the world with whatever harebrained, beautiful idea that's visionary, by the way, and not crazy, there's this one key mind shift. And if you learn this one thing, everything else opens up for you as you stand in your own power. And that is, the mind has 2 settings, that either we choose fear or we choose love. And it's really beautiful to sit here amongst our sister friends and feel the love and feel the support. But the truth of the matter is when the voice of judgment, the inability to forgive, the inability to move forward with our goals because we're procrastinating or stuck, it all roots down to fear. And what's the way that we shift out of it? Well, for me, it was this meditation and mindfulness practice, and that idea that if I sit here and as I take a breath and I focus on that concept of what or who or what brings me unconditional love and switch to that, we're turning off the stress response in our brain that now triggers the emotional cycle, which you'll read all about in the book, that brings up those voices of fear that are judgment, depression, anxiety, inability to forgive, judgment. And in that moment, when we breathe and choose love, we then shift to a place of our own mindset when we're empowered. And so then I thought, well, how do we relate this to this larger movement that's going on around the country and around the world and bring it here to Orlando? So as I've been spending as much time as I can here locally, going to various philanthropic events, various lectures and seminars, I was thinking, how do I give back to my sisters today? And I thought this was that call to action of what does it mean to choose love? It is easy for me to love another sister who is like me, who eats dark chocolate like me, who may be a doctor like me, who believes in meditation like me. It's easy for you to love a sister who's like you, who may shop at the same places, your children are the same age, and go to the same school. But here is my one request of you. And you get the introverts in the room, you get to blame Dr. Romie, say that was that brain doctor's idea. I'd like you to walk up later in this room to someone whom you have never met, who does not look like you, and say these key 3 words. I see you, I hear you, and I believe in you. Because the truth of the matter is a collective sisterhood, when we sit in fear, we see each other as labels. You're a millennial, you're a Gen X, you're a baby boomer. We get divided by our ethnic backgrounds, our religions, our political viewpoints, and fear sets in and disempowers our entire collective sisterhood. I don't want that anymore. Thank you. When we choose love, it is because we see each other, we hear each other, and we believe in each other, even if we don't share the same background, the same viewpoint. I call that living under the rainbow, where all colors are welcomed, and we are a part of that indigo nation. Everybody is seen, everybody is heard, and everybody is believed in. Because when we empower ourselves, we then start to empower the entire collective sisterhood. I see you, I hear you, I believe in you. Do me a favor, I realize you all have forkfuls of food, delicious, healthy food in your mouth, but could you do me a favor and turn to the woman or the gentleman that's next to you and just tell them, I see you, I hear you, I believe in you. Yes. Woo. Yeah. And turn around to the person on the other side and say the same thing. I see you, I hear you, I believe in you. Yes. And now out loud to the entire room here, our collective sisterhood of Orlando, could we stand together today and say, we believe in each other, and say out loud with me, I see you, I hear you, I believe in you. And that is what it means to see above the fear and choose love and empower each other. Last but not least, you may have read this Jim Rohn quote that psychology has proved fascinating, is that we are the sum of the collective of the 5 people who are closest to us. So I want to ask you this after I tell you one of my favorite medical research studies that I came across when I was studying for my integrative medicine boards. I'm going to start by asking this: who here in this room, if you'd like to share, is a breast cancer survivor, or do you know a woman who is survived breast cancer or currently dealing with breast cancer? Look around the room. There is not a single one of us that isn't affected by our own health or someone we know. And over the last 30 years, billions of dollars of research have gone into chemotherapy, pharmaceutical drugs, and surgery, and yet we haven't gotten very far for our sisters that reach stage 3 and 4 breast cancer. But there's one factor that will determine her living on average 12 months longer. And what is that? The number of female friends that she has. So this is my second call to action to you. Do you have a sister with breast cancer or any other chronic health disease? Will you reach out to her today and say, I see you, I hear you, I believe in you? That knowing that you are not alone. And then do this self-assessment. You know, who are the 5 sisters that I reach out to the most in my family, in my personal life, and in my professional life? Do they fill me with fear, or do they fill me with love? So many times we're bound in toxic relationships that are feeding our fear, that judgment. I'm too fat, I'm not smart enough, this dream is too big, I can't do that. And that's not who we are, sisters, especially here in Orlando. I am really lucky. The game changer for my crazy idea that turned into a vision came when not only I met 5 sisters, but 115 strong. So starting with Christy Ashby and Carol Fulsing, I'd like to take a moment and ask every one of my sisters in Florida, executive women, to stand up, my sisterhood. And I want to acknowledge some of the most giving and generous sisters. I love each and every one of you that are here. And why do I want to acknowledge these women? Have a seat. Thank you for standing in the middle of your lunch. Is 2 years ago, they invited this crazy ideaed brain doctor in to join this sacred sisterhood. And it's an amazing group of women whose resumes read like the encyclopedia of who's who's in the United States amongst women leadership. Yet all the egos and the resumes and the titles are left at the door, and we sit and we meet over each other. And at every interaction, it's been, I see you, I hear you, and I believe in you. And in these moments when I've been sitting in fear going, oh my God, I'm about to take the biggest role of my career, I don't know what to do, magically a text, a phone call appears. My prayer and wish for each and every one of you in this room is that you find and create that sacred sisterhood where we choose love over fear. We leave the judgment, the titles, what she's wearing, what she said at the door, and instead choose love. Because when you empower yourself by standing in your power and choose love, and you take that, thinking of who are my circle of 5 sisters, or 115, I love you all, in my personal life, in my family, and in my professional life, and you come together. This is how we change the narrative around the various issues of where women need empowerment, which span healthcare, education, finance, economics, education, et cetera, et cetera. Choose the love. Here's an example of how this would work. This whole idea, Dr. Romie, of what is this, that you're asking me to be seen, and you're asking me to be heard, and you're asking me to believe, this is often what many of you have heard is the power of storytelling. That somebody is allowed in a place of safe love to speak her truth. So let me introduce you to a global nonprofit based here in the United States. I have the honor to sit on their board, World Pulse. It's the only online global community that harnesses the collective power of women to lead unstoppable change. Their partners are Facebook, Google, the Gates Foundation. And what do? Women here in the United States or around the world who are standing in that lonely moment saying, nobody sees me or hears me, I'm so disempowered, have a safe and a secure place to come online and share their story. And have other women log on and give little hearts and say, I see you, I hear you, I believe in you. And I joined this nonprofit because of a young girl in India named Urmila, who was told she couldn't go to school anymore when she hit 9 years old because she started her menstrual cycle. And that in that state in India, most girls were now banished from attending schools when they hit menarche. She felt alone and somehow found World Pulse. She shared her story, and 2 years later has been trained as an advocate and now has over 3,000 women back in school and feminine hygiene products being sent from around the globe to her. This is the collective power of the sisterhood, not only here in Orlando, but when we take a split second to say, I see you, I hear you, sister, and I believe in you. This is the core concept of empowerment. And so I want to leave here today with that one message. And a special message that if you're new here in Orlando, I remember what that felt like 4.5 years ago, and you're like, that's really cool, Romie, you made all these friends, you get to go up on stage, you're following your entrepreneurial dream, and if you're sitting there going, I have this crazy idea, and I really don't know anybody, please come see us in our booth so I can hug you and tell you that I see you, I hear you, I believe in you, and I want you to know you are here in the right place. My medical career, my speaking career takes me to numerous cities around the world. I meet phenomenal women, but I know most of you who have been here much longer than my 4.5 years know there is a special energy about the sisterhood here in Orlando. There hasn't been a single time I've seen in Florida Executive Women and other groups where women don't come together to support each other's charities, businesses, or each other in times of need. And it is us here in Orlando who set the stage for this collective movement around the world with these 3 simple phrases. I see you, I hear you, I believe in you. I want to know how to be of service to you. It is an honor of a lifetime to be present in a room full of 600 empowered women. I hold this deep intention as we take this next breath together, that whatever vision is in your heart, know that you are not crazy, that you stand in your own power, you choose love over fear, and know that you are seen, heard, and believed in. Thank you, my sisters. I love you all.